You are learning that writers don't just write with words, they write with information. An award winning writer once said, "Beginning writers often misunderstand this. Young writers often get carried away on their way to becoming good writers." The writer who has a warehouse of specific, detailed, relevant information has the advantage over any other writer. And so that's what we're going to be looking at. We want to make sure that we have a brain full of specific ideas, detailed ideas, relevant information. And relevant means that it has to do with the topic that you've chosen. Okay? We want to make sure that you have all of these things ready in your notebook and in your brain. You're going to be collecting information. So today, that's your job. Collect specific information related to your topic, because being specific always helps. You'll need at least 1 or 2 stories and 1 or 2 lists per bullet. Soon we'll start organizing all of this material and get ready to write our first drafts. But let me show you an example using our ice cream thesis. Your job today is to collect as much information as you can about the boxes and bullets that you've chosen. So let me give you an example of what I mean. You remember we chose "I love ice cream" as the thesis, and then we've been working on this together. You have your own work to do, so you will not be writing about ice cream. You will, of course, be writing about your own thesis with your box and your bullets, however you've chosen to set those up. But so we need to take a look at what I'm going to do to model that. So I love ice cream because there are so many flavors. I love ice cream because you can add different toppings. I love ice cream because it's refreshing on a hot day. So my job today is to just go through and take notes of things that I remember or experience or that I know about how much I love ice cream. And I'm going to brainstorm, which means I'm going to be writing down the ideas as they come to me. I'm going to be making a list, but not telling stories. There's a difference between making a list and telling the story. Making a list is brief, and it gives you an idea of what you can come back to later and elaborate with a story. So I'm just going to start writing down some things that I know. And that's a good place for you to start as well. Depending on what you've chosen for your main box, you might have ideas already, or you might need to read some things or walk around your house or talk to people or get more ideas. So I'm going to start with, right now there are 3 kinds of ice cream in my freezer. There's also an ice cream cake in my freezer. Okay. I noticed on my way home yesterday, I drove past one Baskin Robbins, and I know there was another on my way home if I'd turned a different way. Okay. I noticed that there were other places that I could get ice cream. I passed some Dairy Queens. I passed a Cold Stone Creamery. And lots of grocery stores. So far I have a list of 3 very specific things. I might After I got home, I noticed that there was an advertisement for an ice cream place called Handles. And that actually reminds me of another, like a new part of my story about ice cream. We have to be careful where we eat ice cream. Because Jonathan has a peanut allergy. Now, because I'm making a list, I'm not going to start telling a story about different situations we've been in that had to do with the peanut allergy and ice cream. I could stop right here and I could tell one story about getting sick after eating ice cream someplace. I could tell a story about going into one ice cream place and them telling us that it was peanut safe, but us seeing peanuts everywhere. I have lots of stories about that, but that's not what I'm doing today. I'm just gathering more information. So if your thesis was something about why you liked a particular movie, like I think that such and such movie was the best movie, then right now you're gathering more evidence for that. You're gathering more information, you're gathering more thoughts. Maybe you come up with 3 or 4 more things. Maybe you come up with 10 more things. But the idea, guys, is you should be able to write a lot about your idea that you had in your box. Because if not, then it wasn't a very good thesis statement to begin with, right? You should have tons of information in your brain ready to go about your thesis. And if you don't, if you chose something like a nonfiction topic, let's say you chose something like, say, the Civil War, that's okay, but you need to go do research about that. And that's not necessary for this assignment. So if right now you're saying to yourself, uh-oh, I chose dolphins and I only know 3 things about dolphins, then it might be time for you to revise, go back, do some more work, and choose something else. Because right now you're choosing something that you know about. You could choose a person that we've learned about in social studies or Hoosier Hike if you already know about them, but you should definitely be using your thesis statement that you know things about. That's the point for this assignment. So today, you're not going to be turning anything in. You are just making a list for yourself of ideas that you can come back to. And keeping in mind that today's lesson really is about making a list and gathering details and not about telling stories. So go get your notebook out and make your list with at least 3 new things. It cannot be something that you already have written down. It should not be one of the pieces that you already have on one of your other lists.